This is Stephen Alexander, another BSFS book review. Yeah, I totally get you, buddy. Let's take a look at your day, shall we? You get up in the morning, leave the house to go to work or whatever, hold at least a dozen conversations, eat, and go to bed. Assuming, of course, you're not all night trying to manipulate Bitcoin prices back to $10,000. I see you there, John! The dream is over, admit it. Anyway, what's the common denominator? Besides breathing, that is. If you said language, then congratulations, you paid attention in class. You use your understanding of language to get around the world every day. Now imagine if, suddenly out of nowhere, another language shows up in your head and blocks you from using your native language. Yeah, even ordering food at McDonald's becomes nearly impossible. Well, not as bad as a regular day at Popeyes, but still. So that's the premise behind Ooga Booga by, no, not him, this guy. Something has triggered a bizarre, quote, disease, unquote, in almost the entire African American population, causing them to twitch uncontrollably, then lose all ability to speak English for a week. Their language gets taken over by what the press calls newspeak, an indecipherable language that floods out knowledge of their old language. The affected are herded into public safety centers that are totally not concentration camps. Soon after, many of the affected regain use of their native language and return to public life, but the fear in the public's hearts cost them their jobs and social status. Looked upon as pariahs, a new speaker called Vanessa Landing decided to start a social organization to give new speakers hope and solid financial ground. But she soon becomes a pawn in a great game played out by the organization she created and the people she trusted. Can she save the new speakers, or is she doomed to fail and leave the unrecalled to a fate worse than death? What did I like about the story? The story touches on historical aspects with the civil rights movement, the sense of fear that many have of black people in general, and the use of media manipulation. It speaks harshly on short-term versus long-term strategizing, in that the main character has to make decisions that go against her wishes to gain political power for her and the party. But the people she feels she has sacrificed don't deserve it and turn against her party. She spent her life, quote, passing for white, unquote, but embraced her black roots since her job flatly rejected her. She thought the people who worked there flipped on her because of racial bias and fears over the language wipe. Instead, she learned that they were bribed and cajoled by the powers that be into firing her for their own purposes. Either way, there's a lesson there about the nature of loyalty in corporate America. Oh, yeah, there isn't any. What didn't I like about the story? There are lots of myths about the pineal gland that come up because of very old, like Renaissance era old biological studies and its very shape. The book uses some of those myths in the villain's explanation speech scene. I'm a bit annoyed by the bad neuroscience, but I don't want to spoil the novel, so I'm just going to say this. The pineal gland produces melatonin. Doesn't it connect you to the spirit realm? The gland naturally calcifies, and this is not caused by using fluoride. It is not a third eye in humans, but it kind of has a similar function like that in lizards and other reptiles that follow circadian rhythms. Now that you know this, you can write better science fiction. Also, the villain's speech feels rushed and put in the book, plus the first part of the ending. I think the writer put it in there just because he wanted to make the villain more evil, but instead he became a cardboard cutout of a villain, a hodgepodge of Ted Haggard and Bull Connor and Joseph Mengele. My recommendation. It's a sci-fi novel that pretends to be a thriller with a civil rights / Black Lives Matter focus. That makes it both fascinating and frustrating at the same time. As such, along with the faulty neuroscience, I'm giving it a fascinatingly frustrating score of 3.75 out of 5 stars. If you're into buying presents for Kwanzaa or MLK Day, this could be the right one for young and old adults in your family. Got any ideas, suggestions, or music for the show? Leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And remember, you can make a difference. The system needs you to. Never forget that. Next week, we're going full paranormal with Crimson Hunter. Let the bodies hit the floor. See ya.